Thank you very much to once welcome you again to MedZone African Motives, whereby I want us to come and look at business studies, grade 12, paper 2. That is section C, the essay questions. That is section C, whereby we are going to look at the essay questions on business studies, grade 12, paper 2. So let us be together from the start of this presentation, whereby we're going to make a revision, trying to prepare for the coming paper 2 that you're going to write for preparatory examinations. So make sure that you are going to share with those who are interested, and don't ever forget to hit the subscription button. Thank you. Without wasting much time, let us go straight to our business of today. So here is the section C. There is an instruction that is given there where it says answer any one question in this section. So very important to always read this instruction, because that is to try by all means to not make any mistake. So as it says we are to answer one question, make sure that you are going to do so. But as for now, as we are preparing, we are going to do both question 5 as well as question 6. As you know very well that section C, it is always question 5 and question 6. You have to choose between the two. But right now, as we are going to do both of them, hope you understand. 5. So here, there is a note there that you have to make sure that you don't overlook it, where it says clearly indicate the question number you have chosen. Clearly indicate the question number of your chosen question. So the answer to the question must start on a new page. Example, question 5 on a new page, question 6 on a new page. Hope you get it. So question 5 read as follows. There is what you call some sort of case study or some that we are to go through before we can write our essay. So there is a scenario given there. They say many investors invest in preference shares to reduce the risk of losing their investments. So they go for preference share, trying to avoid to make a risk of losing their investment. They also understand the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Various types of investment opportunities enable investors to make informed investment decisions. The government or RSA retail savings bond is the most preferred form of business, preferred form of investment. So these are basically what we are going to talk about on our essay. So we are going to talk about this information that is given. So now it went on to say, write an essay on investment securities in which you include the following aspects. So you're going to write an essay on investment securities. So that is what we are going to write an essay on. So firstly, what are these investment securities? That is very important now to try to know what are these investment securities that we are talking about. So securities are financial instruments. They are financial instruments that represent the ownership. So meaning we are talking about the stocks or equity. We are talking about the stock or equity when we are talking about the ownership. We are talking about stock or equity. Also, the securities are financial instruments that represent the debts. They also represent the debt. That's when we're talking about the bonds, we're talking about the debentures. That is the debts that we are talking about. Also about what? The rights, where we are talking about the options that you have to take, as well as the warrants. So it's very important to take note of that. So this is what we are going to talk about in our AC. So without wasting much time, let us go to the aspects that we are given. We have the aspects that we are given. So the first aspect is it outline the right of preference share. Outline the rights of preference share. What are the rights of preference share? So it simply says we are going to go to our answer book where we've already answered them. Now we are going to go to where we are going to answer the question. So we are going to go to where we are going to answer our question. So first we have to do the introduction. Before we can even attend to the aspects, we have to make sure that we are going to give the introduction. So our introduction is just only 2 marks. So don't make any mistake of leaving an introduction. Those are your 3 marks that you don't have to lose. So now we are to give the introduction. Our introduction, we are talking about the securities. Securities can be traded on a financial markets, providing opportunities for investors to earn returns through dividends and grow the wealth through capital approach. So this is how we're going to give our introduction, and then we get our 2 marks. Simple as like that. Simple as like that. So let us not forget that this is question 5. Question 5 of our section C. This is question 5. Remember this, it's what? Section C. Okay. So now let us go to the first aspect that we are to talk about, which are the preference shares, the rights of what? Of preference shares. So here we are under the rights of preference share. The first preference share that we are going to talk about is that priority in dividend payments. We're talking about the priority in dividend payments. So receive dividends before ordinary shareholders. So preference shareholders, they receive the dividends before what? Before ordinary shareholders. They are the first ones to get what? To get what? To get the dividends, meaning we are talking about the profits. Meaning we are talking about the profits. Also, priority in capital repayment. Priority in capital repayment. So that is another second point, that priority in capital repayment. So that is very important as well. So priority in capital repayment, in liquidation, they are paid before ordinary shareholders. If the business is to be liquidated, like we're talking about liquidation now, they are the first one who are going to get what? Paid. Their capital. They are the first people to get back their capital. The preference shareholders. So in case where the business is to be liquidated, so they are the first ones to get what? Their capital back. Hope it makes sense. Also, fixed dividends rate. Fixed dividends rate. That is another point. Fixed dividends rate. So with this fixed dividends rate, they usually earn fixed percentage. So they usually earn what? Fixed percentage. So then, if they are to get 80%, it means they're going to get it throughout. That is why they usually earn what? A fixed percentage. So preference shares will always get 8% when dividends are declared. Whether the companies make profit or loss, they are going to get their fixed percentage. Like I've said, we can talk of 8%. They will get it whether the business make profits or not. Also, limited voting rights. Limited voting rights. Usually, no voting power. They have no voting power unless dividends are unpaid. So in such a case, that's whereby they can vote. Unless dividends are unpaid. Example, preferential shareholders may vote only if the company keeps dividends for 2 years. So now they can now vote. But without that, they are not going to vote. Hope we understand each other there. So now let us go to another aspect. Let us move on to another aspect now. Let us move on to another aspect. Let us move on to another aspect. So the other aspect is that explain the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Explain the difference between simple interest and compound interest. So now we have to give what the difference between the two. So let us go and differentiate compound interest and simple interest. Compound interest and simple interest. So here we are under compound interest and simple interest. So now we are to differentiate the two. So we are first going to start with what? Simple interest. We're going to start with simple interest. Simple interest invest only on principal amount. They invest only on principal. So that is a simple interest. So the formula for simple interest, it is principal times rate times time, and we divide it by 100. Also, another point, it is easier to calculate. There is no accumulation on this one. There is no accumulation. Total interest remains the same each year, e.g. 1,000 at the rate of 10% for 3 years. So you see 1,000 is the principal amount, 10% is the rate that we're talking about, and then the 3 years now is what? Is the time. Then we're going to divide by 100. Then we get what? 300. There is no change. This is the 300 that is he or she, what a person is going to get throughout. As we have said, there is no accumulation. That interest is not going to be added to the principal amount. So it is going to remain as it is throughout. So now let us come to the compound interest, because we are asked to differentiate the two. So here we are under the compound interest. Compound interest on principal plus accumulated interest. Remember the simple interest, it was only on the principal. But with compound now, we are going to plus what? Accumulated interest. Then the formula now is what? Compound interest is equal to P bracket 1 plus rate divided by 100, and then we are going to multiply by time minus what? Principal. So that is that. So it grows faster because interest is reinvested. The interest is reinvested. So it means the interest that you get, you are going to add it back. That is why we're saying there will be what? A growth. So now let us move on to another aspect and try to see what is another aspect that we are to talk about. We move on to another aspect. So the other aspect here is that explain discuss the following types of investment opportunities. Discuss the following types of investment opportunities. Then we are to talk about mutual funds or stokvel, debentures. That is that. That's what we are mainly going to look at. So now let us go and try to talk about those two. That is mutual funds as well as debentures. Mutual funds as well as debentures. So here we are, where we are to talk about what? The mutual or stokvels. So it talks of what? The community saving pools. The community saving pool. Members contribute regularly. So members are going to contribute what? Regularly. Example that we can make, we can talk about 10 members contribute 500 monthly. So if they contribute 500 monthly, it means all of them, they are going to make up to 5,000 that is going to be collected. So they will be paying what? 500 monthly. They will be contributing it regularly. Also, we are talking about the rotational payouts. So members take turns. They take what? Turns receiving what? The lump sum. Members take turns by what? Receiving what? The lump sum. They take turns. They take turns by receiving the lump sum. So as they are going to take loans, examples, you can say each month one member gets 5,000. They contribute 500, remember, each one. So when you add it up, it makes what? 5,000. So that is the money that each member is going to get, because they are going to, then the next month is another one, just like that. Also, we are saying low cost and accessible, as there are no bank fees. Also, it encourages what? Saving. So it is very, very low when it comes to cost. Also, they're talking about support system. So builds trust and community ties. So that is that. So we were asked to also talk about the risk factor of this type. The risk factor. We were asked to talk about the risk factor. So the risk factor under the stokvels is that fraud or dishonest members. So we find that you're going to have those members that are not loyal. They are dishonest. You'll find that along the way, they are no longer doing what was agreed before. So that is another risk of heavy search members. Also, lack of legal protection, because we are relying only on our trust. Remember that we are relying on our trust. So there is no legal protection. So if there is a lack of legal protection, it means it's not safe. Dependency on trust only. So you see, depend only on trust. That you trust that people will be loyal and do as they agreed that they will do. Also, mismanagement of funds. You find that the funds are not going to be well handled, well managed. See, that is a risk that comes up with this type of investment opportunity, which is a stock fair. So now let us move on to debentures now. Let us move on to debenture. Let us move on to debenture. So with debenture, which is now a formal debt instrument. So debentures are issued by either can be companies, government. That is a promise that they make to creditors or investors that they will pay back the money plus the interest. That's, in short, a contract between the investors, the lenders, as well as those who are going to borrow the money. So here we are, if you want, fixed interest on loan, fixed interest on loan, fixed interest on loan. So fixed interest on loan, investors lend money to a company. Investors lend money to a company. Example, we can talk about a company is going to issue 10% debentures of 1,000 each. That is that. Tradable instrument can be bought and sold in markets. So it can be bought and sold in markets. It's tradable instruments. Long-term finance. So it can be used by companies for expansion. So that is that. What are the risks that comes up with this type of investment? That is that. What are the risks that comes up with this type of investment? So here are the risks. We are talking about the bankruptcy. We are talking about the bankruptcy, whereby there are chances of losing what? The investment, loss of investment. Inflation reduces real value of fixed interest. That is that. Company default, failure to pay interest. It can happen that the companies are going to fail to pay what? The interest. So that is that. So now let us go to another question and try to see how we are going to attend to it. Let us quickly go to another question. So let us move on to another question. Which says, advise business by investors on the impact of government or RSA retail savings bonds as a form of investment. So that is that. So now let us go and try to answer it. Let us go and try to answer it. So that is that. are going to answer the impacts advantages of RSA retail saving bonds. So as it says, guaranteed returns. The returns are guaranteed. So the interest rate is fixed for the chosen period. So investors know exactly what they will earn. They know exactly what they will earn. So, for example, we can talk if you invest 10,000 for 5 years at the 9%, you are guaranteed that 9% annually for the full term. So that's what it means. Also, market-related interest rate. So interest rates are limited to interest rates are linked to government. They are linked to government bond rates. So they are linked to government rates. So often higher than normal bank saving accounts. So this provides regular cash flow, making it practical choice for pensioners or people who need income regularly. So now we come to interest payment option. Interest payment option. Investors can choose to receive interest payments twice a year. So investors can choose to receive interest payments twice a year. So that is that. Low risk investment. So RSA bonds are backed by the South African government. They are backed by South African government, making them one of the safest investment options available. So that is that. So now let us go to the disadvantage of RSA retail saving bonds. So the disadvantage now, it cannot be used as a loan security. Cannot be used as a loan security. Minimum investment requirement. Minimum investment requirement. So it means the minimum amount is 500 for top-up bonds or 1,000 for fixed rate bond. So this can be difficult. This can be difficult for very low income earners who struggle to save up the initial capital. Also, is not transferable. It's not freely transferable. So investors cannot easily or transfer their retail bonds to someone. So this limits liquidity, access to your money before maturity. So that is that. So now we are going to move on to question 6. We're now going to move on to question 6. We are going to move on to question 6. Question 6. So question 6 is about business roles, social responsibility, about business role, social responsibility, corporate social responsibility, and corporate social investment. So this is what we are mainly going to talk about. So it reads as follows. Businesses are expected to develop corporate social responsibility programs and corporate social investment projects to address some of socio-economic issues such as HIV and AIDS unemployment. They are also required to contribute time and effort into improving the well-being of their employees. Write an essay on CSR and CSI in which you include the following aspects. So the aspects are very important because those are the guidelines of what you're going to talk about. So make sure that you don't make any mistake of trying to leave out any of those aspects unattended. Just like question 5, we are going to first start by what? The introduction. Don't forget the introduction. So the aspects that we are given, they are the following. They read as follows. Outline the difference between CSR and CSI. You know, CSR is corporate social responsibility, corporate social investment. Discuss the impact of CSI on the business. Explain ways in which the business could deal with HIV and AIDS and unemployment as socio-economic issues. Recommend ways in which business could contribute time and effort into improving the well-being of employees. So these are the aspects that we are going to discuss. So let us move. Let us go to our answer book and try to answer those aspects that I have just read now. Let us go and answer those aspects, which is question 6. Question 6. Question 6. Our introduction. So our introduction is going to be corporate social investment, corporate social responsibility. In fact, responsibility is the way a business conducts its operations. A business conducts its operations. Business conducts its operations. Ethically, morally, ethically and morally regarding the use of human, physical and financial. Physically and financial resources. Then you get your 2 marks. That is how easy you are going to write it. Remember, the other point we were asked to give what? The difference between CSR and CSI. CSR, that is another aspect that we were asked under question 6. CSR and CSI. So let me write it here. CSR as well as CSI. So we are to give the difference between these two. We are to give the difference between these two. We are to give the difference between these two. So first, we are going to start by the corporate social responsibility. So The intention under corporate social responsibility is that the intention is to change the business practices. The intention is to change business practices. Is to change the business practices. The reason why they do a corporate social responsibility is to make sure that they're going to change what the business practices. They are doing it because of what they want to change their business. They are looking for their business to change, to grow, to improve. Also, their focus is on increasing image. Focus is on increasing image and profits. So that is that. They do that corporate social responsibility because they want to increase the image of their business and also to make what? Profits. So they do that so that they will have more customers that are going to come to buy from their shop. Because they will be doing what? They will be giving back to the community. So they do it because there is something that they are expecting in return. They practice this because there is something that they are expecting in return. Also, they ensure that all internal CSI policies and practices include stakeholders. So that is that. So now coming to corporate social investment now. With this one, they are actively committing money. They are actively committing money and resources to uplift the community. And resources to uplift the community. So then they are committing their money in order to uplift the community. Unlike corporate social responsibility, where they are looking for their business. These ones, they want their business to benefit. These ones, they are not looking for the benefits from the community. What they want to uplift the community. They want to make sure that they grow the community where their business is established. Hope we are together. They also their focus is on the upliftment. Their focus is on the upliftment of the community. Without return on investment. Without return on investment. Unlike with corporate social responsibility, where we know that their main focus is to make what? Is to make profit. They do that because they want to make profit. They do that because they want to attract more customers to come to business. So this one's under investment. The project that they are coming up with in the community where their business is established is to just to uplift the community. They don't want anything in return. They also ensure that CSI projects are relevant to the needs of the communities. So we are together on that. Hope we are together on that. So now let us move on to the impact of CSI on the business. There is another aspect where we want to talk about the impact of CSI on business. We're talking about the impact of CSI on a business. On a business. So we're first going to talk about the positives or advantages. positives or advantages of this corporate social investment on a business. So the first one may attract experienced employees. May attract experienced employees. May attract experienced employees, which could increase productivity. Which could increase productivity. May attract experienced employees, which could increase what? Productivity. So the business which practice this corporate social investment, they will attract those employees who are very equipped with knowledge, those who are very much skilled to the business. So that will increase what? Their productivity. So because employees would want to work for organizations that is giving back or that is caring much for their well-being. So that is that. Also, a business may have competitive advantage. Business may have competitive advantage. Competitive advantage. Business may have competitive advantage, resulting in good publicity and an improved reputation. So business is going to have competitive advantage because more customers, they are going to come in numerous to such an organization that is taking care of the community. So that is that. Also promotes customer loyalty. Promotes customer loyalty. So customers are going to be loyal with such organization, and this is going to result in more sales because the customers are going to make what? A repeating. They are going to do a repeat purchases. They will come once. They will always come. They will always come to such an organization. So they will come once again. That is that. That is that. And also, the business enjoy the goodwill or support of communities. Business enjoys goodwill and support of community. So the community is going to support such a organization. So that is why we are saying business is going to enjoy a goodwill and support of the community. Such business which is doing what you call corporate social investment, they are going to be supported by that community. So that is that. So now we want to know the negatives now. Disadvantages. Disadvantages of CSI. We want to know the disadvantages of CSI. So you'll find that most managers are not trained. You'll find that most managers are not trained, or lack experience to handle social programs. Are not trained or lack experience to handle social programs. Social programs. That's a disadvantage. You find that most managers are not equipped with knowledge and skills to handle these social programs. So it means they will fail to do it effectively or put it into practice effectively. Business find it difficult to adhere to legislation governing CSI. So you find that businesses find it difficult. They find it difficult to adhere to legislation governing CSR. That is another drawback of CSI. Detailed reports must be drawn up. Detailed reports must be drawn up, which can be time consuming. So that is that. So now we to move on to the strategies to deal with HIV and AIDS. That is another aspect that we given there on our essay under question 6. That is another aspect that we're given. Ways or strategies, strategies to deal with HIV and AIDS. To deal with HIV and AIDS and unemployment. What is that? So we are going to talk about the strategies to deal with HIV and AIDS, as well as strategies to deal with unemployment, So let's start with the strategies to deal with HIV and AIDS. To deal with HIV and AIDS. Deal with HIV and AIDS. So the first point under the strategies that we can come up to deal with this HIV and AIDS, we have to make sure that we participate in the existing HIV/AIDS prevention program. Participate in the existing HIV or AIDS prevention program. Prevention programs. That is that. Also hire the counselors. Hire or train what? Counselors. Train what? Hire or train the counselors to provide counseling. To provide counseling to infected and affected persons. To infected and those who are affected persons. So that is that. That is a strategy of how you can deal with HIV and AIDS. Also, conduct workshops. Conduct workshops on HIV and AIDS. On HIV and AIDS. Conduct workshops on HIV and AIDS programs. Programs or campaigns. So that is that. Now we are going to a strategy to deal with unemployment. Strategies to deal with unemployment. Strategies to deal with unemployment. To deal with unemployment. Strategies to deal with unemployment. It's one of the aspects that is there under question 6. So with unemployment, provide skills development programs. Provide skills development programs. Through leadership. Through leadership programs. So that is how we can deal with unemployment, because these people now will be trained, they will be competent enough to deliver at workplace. They can now be able to access jobs if now they find themselves with necessary skills to do what? To do the job. Also offer bursaries. Offer bursaries to the community. Offer bursaries to the community to improve the level of education. To improve the level of education. Improve the level of education. Also, you can do what? Create jobs. Create jobs for members of the community. Create jobs for members of community. For members of community. Also, provide or conduct entrepreneurial programs. Provide or conduct entrepreneurial programs. Entrepreneurial programs. Entrepreneurial programs that can promote self-employment. That can promote self-employment. That can promote self-employment. So these are the strategies to deal with unemployment. That's making sure that there are bursaries to the community so that they can improve the level of their education. The jobs are created, making sure that the jobs are created for members of community so that they can work. And that will reduce what the unemployment that is there. Also, have those workshops that we are going to teach people how to become their own boss, how to start their own job, just start their own business in short. Now we are coming to another aspect, which is ways in which business would contribute time and effort in improving the well-being of employee. That is very important as well. Ways in which business would contribute time and effort in improving the well-being of employee. The well-being of employee. So this is another aspect that we have to talk about. So we are going to say business should pay fair wages or salaries. Business should pay fair wages or salaries to the workers based on the nature of their work. So that is that. Prevailing economic conditions in the market. That is that. So the business should pay fair wages and salaries to workers based on the nature of their work, prevailing the economic conditions in the market. Pay fair bonuses as well. Pay fair bonuses based on the business earnings. Based on the business earnings. As acknowledgement for hard work and commitment. So that is as acknowledgement for hard work and commitment. Also, you can offer financial assistance in the case of any hardship caused by unexpected medical costs. You can, as an organization, offer financial assistance financial assistance. Can offer financial in the case of any hardship. In the case of any hardships caused by unexpected medical costs. Caused by unexpected medical costs. So that is that. So now we are to conclude now. We are to conclude our essay. To give conclusion to our essay. Conclusion, as you're going to get your 2 marks as well for making sure that you are going to conclude. So you can conclude this way: corporate social responsibility corporate social responsibility is an obligation required by law. Required by law and benefits the business or society. And benefits the business or society. So that you get your 2 marks. So thank you very much for your time. Make sure that you are going to share with those who are concerned. Don't ever forget to hit the subscription button. Please use this essay as to prepare for your upcoming exam. Thank you.